Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. As always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We have a ton of content coming out for you guys every single week. We don't want you to miss a thing. Our usual shout out of appreciation to our patrons. All those tips and support are highly appreciated. It's only going to go towards making the channel better. We're hoping to add a lot more games to the channel, such as roulette, video keno, video poker, carnival games, things along those lines. We just want to do it right, which is going to be very expensive, so it's going to take some time. You could help us out if you wanted to. If not, no big deal. We appreciate you guys just tuning in, but if you're curious about it, go ahead and check the description down below this video on the patronage. And for our patrons, we do hope you are appreciating those patron-only exclusive videos we're putting out for you guys every single week. If you have anything you'd like to see, just email us on the site. We're more than happy to film it for you. As for the rest of you, please continue tuning in. We have, like I said, a ton of content coming out. And if you have any suggestions, questions, strategies, anything related to craps, baccarat, blackjack, pai gow, casinos, Vegas in general, just go ahead and shoot us an email at sincityliving@gmail.com. We absolutely love to shoot these videos for you guys. It is our favorite thing to do. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into today's video. So for today's video, I want to talk about how to analyze a strategy for yourself. If you have a strategy that you came across or something that you're thinking about that you may want to do as a strategy, please send it to us. We absolutely love doing these videos for you guys. But here are some ways that you can look at strategies. Like, let's say you're out playing dice somewhere and you see somebody play a strategy that you've never seen before. So you watch it for a little bit to get an understanding of exactly what their strategy is, what it consistently does, roll to roll to roll. And then you have an ability to analyze it. And when I analyze strategies, I look at them for two things. The first thing I look at them for is, where is its weakest point? Like a lot of head strategies, the weakest point, of course, is down behind. Because a lot of head strategies include either direct lays, or they have don't passes or don't comes. If they're don't passes or don't comes, their weakest point is the come out roll. The come out roll for the don't pass or for the don't come is the weakest point. And then the second loss point is if it hits the number. But at that point, the odds favor the don't pass. Once there's actually a point set, once it's actually traveled behind, or if the don't pass, once there's actually a point set, the odds do favor the bet at that point. But look for the weak point. Look for the weak point, and what you're looking for is you're looking for the weak point, the weakest point, and how much it will cost the strategy. For instance, let's say we have someone that does a $100 don't pass and then does let's say an 85 inside, okay? Okay, so what is the weak point? Well, obviously on the come out roll, it could lose $100, but theoretically, once you have a point, the odds favor it. So that, while it's not a wash, the odds are against it. The weakest point is, of course, the come out roll winners, winner 7s, winner 11s, and a winner on the point. Now, to double it up, let's say you lose it, and you don't bother chasing, you just let it go and hope that your place bets work. So a 7 out followed by a 0.7 out costs. That's the absolute weakest point. But at its core, the weakest point is right there. So you look at it and go, where's the weakest point and what does it cost? Okay, it would cost either $100 or it would cost $185, depending. Okay, you look at the worst case scenario oftentimes as far as what it would cost. It would cost $185. Okay, cool. Then, now that you have identified the weak point, take a look at how the strategy is designed and figure out how long it would take to make back up one weak point loss. Now, let me use a different, more common strategy for you guys to understand what I'm talking about. We're going to do a standard iron cross, which is going to be 3 units on the 6 and 8, and the 5, and 2 units on the field. Okay. The standard iron cross, the field is a unit or 2 less than the place bets. So a lot of people play this wrong, which is absolutely foolish because then your win point is even lower, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. But look at this. Now, if we look at this, and Iron Cross players do it regardless of what the point is. Okay. So what is the most critical loss point for the Iron Cross? Well, it would be a 0.7 out, or just a point, and then a couple rolls and a 7 out. But the worst case scenario is a 0.7 out. Okay, 0.7 out. So a 0.7 out is going to cost how much? It's going to cost this player how much? It's going to cost them $61. They have 51 here, and then they have 10 over there. So it's going to cost them $61. Now that you know what the weak point is, what the most expensive hit that this strategy could take, now we look at how does it make money? Well, this strategy makes either $10 or $11. Makes $10 on any field number, except for the 2 and 12. Those are incredibly rare, but does make double or triple on that, so it could make 20 or 30, but for the most part it makes $10 and makes $11 if one of these numbers rolls. So it's basically making on average about $11. Let's say $11 a roll. Okay, so it's making $11 a roll, and it can lose $61. So if it makes $11 a hit, then how many rolls do you have to have just to break even on a loss? 6 rolls, 5 to 6 rolls. Okay, figure maybe there's a 2 in there somewhere. 5 to 6 rolls to make up for a 0.7 out. Okay, so a 0.7 out should theoretically occur 1 in 6 times. So again, 5 to 6 rolls just to break even. So now you look at it and go, well, how many rolls would it take? Where is the targeted win point for this strategy? Like, where is the point? What is it targeting? Is it targeting a short roll, 0.7 outs? This is clearly not targeting 0.7 outs. Is it targeting rolls that only last 1, 2, or 3 rolls of the dice? But that would win $20 or $30. It's really not targeting that, especially considering that it would have to make up for the occasional $61 loss. So what is this strategy targeting? This strategy is it targeting 4, 5, 6 rolls of the dice before a 7? Maybe because it's making 40, 50, $60. But again, that only breaks even for any particular 7 out. So what's it shooting for? Is it shooting for 5 roll or 15 roll, 20 roll hands? Where is its targeted destination of its sweet spot? That's the biggest weakness of the Iron Cross. Like the longest confirmed roll in craps. Remember, casinos all have cameras. All the stuff gets confirmed. A little over 4 hours, and it was in New Jersey. And despite what you may think, it wasn't some 300 rolls of the dice kind of thing. It was like 160, 170 rolls of the dice. So the Iron Cross on 160, 170 rolls of the dice without a 7. Figuring you've got the occasional 2 or 12, but you will also have come out rolls where you're not going to make anything because you're just waiting. Figure that's all a wash. So we'll just say $10 per average roll. So the Iron Cross can make $1,600, $1,700 on that record-setting roll. Power press, the power press method on a roll like that is, depending on the table limits, is making easy 6 figures. Mid press is probably making 6 figures on a roll that goes 160, 170 rolls without a 7. Even a press 1 unit is going to make 5 figures probably, solidly, at least $10,000. I can't picture it making less than that. So that's where the Iron Cross's weakness is. And you look at just about any strategy, and if you go back and you watch some of our more recent videos in the last month or so, as I'm talking about the strategies, you'll see that I talk about where is the win point. What is it targeting? Because a lot of these strategies, they sound super clever, like, oh, I've got this bet here, this bet here, this bet here, so that's hedging that, and that's hedging this one, so if that happens and this happens, then I'm still getting paid here. And what ends up happening is when you stop and look at it, the player is winning $3 to $5 every single roll at most, and they have no real spot where they're suddenly just rolling in the dough. Even things like regressive strategies are actually decent strategies because you may be regressing down to pull your initial bet off the table, whole play with house money thing. You're not playing with house money, you're playing with your money. But the point is, the pull down, so basically you get another shooter. It's theoretically a free roll as far as your bankroll is concerned. That's the idea behind regressing down, but once players regress down, then they start pressing it up again. So the win point for, say, regressive strategies is usually they are targeting rolls that are 4 to 5 rolls or longer. Once they hit 4 or 5 rolls, they're usually in the positive, and then they just keep going from there. So there's an actual target with a large win point further along, but there's an actual area that it is targeting in order to win and make up for any potential losses. Same thing, power press. The power press, its target is generally 30 or more rolls. The mid-press method is usually targeting rolls that are 6 or more. 6 or more rolls of the dice without a 7 is generally what the mid-press method is looking for, because they're collecting some and pressing some. So they're even as far as their bankroll is concerned, fairly, not quickly, but in a reasonable amount of time. And then they're just pressing up and trying to make some money. Same bet strategies, well, they're really targeting about 8 or 9 rolls in order to really make up for any worst case scenario losses and then any bets they have on the table. So that's how I tend to look at strategies: is how much is it making per roll, how much is it going to lose in the worst case scenario, how many rolls would it take to make up for the worst case scenario's loss, and then what is its target? Short rolls, medium rolls, good rolls, great rolls, phenomenal rolls. Where is it aiming for? What is the sweet spot for the strategy? Because that then tells me a lot about how I want to play it, or whether or not I want to play it at all. If there's a strategy that is targeting rolls that last less than three rolls of the dice, well, I'm not interested, because you're not going to make a whole lot of money there, unless you have just insane amounts bet on hot bets and any 7s and stuff like that. If I am, or say direct lays, things like that, but even then your loss point is really big and hard to make up for. Is the strategy targeting between 4 to 8 rolls of the dice to be hitting its sweet spot before 7? That's not too shabby, because that's a relatively common type of roll. So I'll see a few of those and I have a chance at a longer roll. Those are the best ways to look at the strategies. Weakest point, absolute worst case. Forget all the hedges and stuff like that. Look at the absolute worst case. Where would the strategy lose the absolute most amount of money? How much is the absolute most the strategy could lose? Then look at how much it's going to make per roll, not individual targeted rolls, like, oh, well, if it hits this exact number, it's going to make a whole bunch. No. Just what is it on average going to make every single roll of the dice? Then you can look at that and calculate, well, how many rolls of the dice will it take to make up for a worst case loss? And you can also then look at it to figure out how many rolls of the dice is it going to take before it hits that sweet spot. What is it targeting? So those are ways to analyze your own strategies, or analyze other people's strategies while you're playing. I hope you guys find this interesting, illuminating, enlightening, or at least entertaining. We appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye now.